SailGP is back in Halifax, and bigger than ever. Mother Nature is bringing the surprises.
Look at the pace on the Australians.
And SailGP is bringing the action.
Oh, what a move.
Can the Bonds Flying Roos continue their dominance over the fleet this season? Or will the rising tide in Canada's home waters elevate a new F-50 to the throne? It's all still to play for out on the water. The first ever 4-boat final awaits us on Super Sunday. One of the shortest journeys between events of the 2026 SailGP Global Odyssey, the fleet has traveled due northeast from New York City to Halifax, Nova Scotia. Halfway between the equator and the North Pole, this peninsula is the capital of Canada's ocean playground. But today, it is a backdrop for a Canadian Super Sunday on the Atlantic. Both welcoming and battling seafarers along the North Atlantic coastline for centuries, this port has maritime heritage carved into its rocks and etched into the landscape by its famously unpredictable and unforgiving weather. And for the second time in history, the marauding fleet occupying its waterfront represents the world's best sailors, welcomed by a warm and friendly audience from lighthouse to boardwalk. The grandstands are full of Haligonians and traveling fans. Alongside Olympian Stevie Morrison and former Emirates GBR athlete Hannah Diamond, I'm Todd Harris. Welcome to Event 7. This is the Canada Sail Grand Prix Halifax. So just 2 fleet races for each group yesterday. For Group A, a perfect record for the Bonds Flying Roos as they won both races, and back on the water after a long break is the Black Foils of New Zealand in second place. In Group B, the rookie squad Artemis has the lead after scoring a second and a first yesterday. Explorer Swiss well positioned also after scoring a win and a third in race 2 for the group. Remember, it's the top 2 teams in each group that will qualify for the event final.
Well, yeah, we got 2 more races for the top groups today. We've got 2 more races out there, so we're going to hope to get those in if the wind holds up. 5 points if you win, and it's all about accumulating points to get to that 4-boat winner-takes-all final here in Halifax.
Taking a look at today's race course, we have wind coming over the city of Halifax, once again providing unpredictable conditions for the teams to contend with. The gate marks at the top and bottom of the course will likely be a big strategic factor as the teams choose whether a left or right turn will lead them to better pressure and a shorter distance around the track. The decision to invest in foiling will also be a feature of the racing. Get it right, there's opportunity to gain huge distances. Easier said than done in these conditions. Timing and execution will be everything.
So that is the current situation as we have breaking news with 2 minutes to go. That is Emirates GBR. They are the defending champions from last season, and they had an incident just moments ago. For more on that and what we can expect today in Halifax, let's check in with a 4th member of our broadcast team. Here's Olympic silver medalist Lisa Darmanin.
Todd, yeah, really tough news for the British. So the wind's a little bit more than we were expecting. You know, we can't really control the weather, but they were doing a practice bear away. The boat was super loaded, and their rudder basically was bending so much it broke the surface of the water. They had a massive nosedive, and because of that impact, they damaged their wing sails, so they are out for racing today. So really tough for them. We've got the 27.5 meter wings in. We've got the big foils. So teams are actually on a limit of 75 kilometers per hour. So it's going to be a tough day out here.
That is a very violent dive.
Yeah, that looks really nasty. I think we've heard that everyone is okay on board, but really disappointing start to the day for Emirates GBR, and they'll miss out on all of that racing today.
All right, so there is a situation. Emirates GBR will not be racing today as they will be craned in and they'll begin repairs immediately. So for Group B, it now becomes 5 boats trying to qualify top 2 into the final, Stevie. It gives them a little bit more elbow room, but right now for Group B, it has been Switzerland and it has been Artemis, the class of the field.
That's right, a lot more space on the racetrack here, and it's all about making sure you're in those top 2 boats. Artemis, right-hand side of screen, giving themselves some space. They don't want to be too conservative here. They've got to make sure they can battle hard if they want to make it. USA, well positioned. All about managing the speed on the first leg. We can see the wind lines coming down. The blue colours, less wind. As the colour gets redder, it's a bit more wind on the track, so more wind up towards the top end of the start line. Rolex pole predictors on the USA. Artemis dive. They get up to speed at the bottom end of the line. He's looking for the shortest distance. distant, perfectly positioned is Outeridge. Who's going to get the acceleration right? They wind it up and look for that line to go white. Racing here, Artemis perfect on the gun. Outeridge has got his starting boost on today. He comes out blazing towards Mark 1. Canfield will follow. Who's going to manage to catch this Swedish team?
Looking for right turn at the bottom. That's the mark, right?
So as they approach mark number 1 for Group B, their third fleet race here in Halifax, and it is Nathan Outeridge and Artemis out in front. Red Bull Italy directly behind them, and in between is the US SailGP team with Taylor Canfield.
Watch the top of the wings, Todd. 75s. Oh, they're top end for these
79.
rudders. It's top end for those rudders. It's like driving your Formula 1 car into a corner at Monaco and just keeping the throttle down as hard as you can. Brave work from Outeridge, but they flew the boat a bit lower. That helps give a little bit more load structurally to the rudder, and they're lined up nicely for the bottom of the course. Gate 2 coming quick.
What a difference between yesterday. The wind is up, Hannah, and they are off and flying. This is Group B. Remember, the top 2, since we're in split fleet racing, will qualify and will have the first ever 4-boat final here in SailGP.
Yeah, much stronger winds than perhaps even we were expecting for today. We are expecting this to decrease a little bit, but up at 26 kilometres an hour at the moment.
Well, USA have got a little heeled out of that. Good save there. Mike Menninger just managing to ease enough wing. US need a big result here. Sweden is moving away from the fleet. Tight at the bottom. Right of way here with the Swedish.
Oh, very close.
Oh, the Swiss there had to move away from the Germans and the Italians. To me, that was too little too late by Phil Robertson. That could have consequences later on. The Swiss looked to turn left at the bottom. All the boats are really overpowered on these rounds up. That was really too close. The umpire thought about telling us something there, I think.
It's going to be Italy.
Penalty, it had to be. They just didn't move. Didn't give Germany the opportunity to move, so they're going to have to drop back behind the Swiss, I would imagine, is where that penalty will go. Right now, Outeridge has sailed the plan he wanted. He's in towards the fans on the shore. When they come back together with the US team, it'll be right of way to the USA, but this is going to be tricky manoeuvring in this heavier breeze with the big wings. Lots of drag to manoeuvre through the air.
Phil Robertson, Red Bull Italy, they take their penalty, they drop back. They were sitting in second place. They'll drop back to 5th place. It is Nathan Outeridge and Artemis out in front. Taylor Canfield, US SailGP, Dean Curley sitting in second place. They had a terrible day yesterday, finishing with a 5th and a 6th respectively.
Looks like a nice shift in the wind there, Hannah. Artemis is sailing nicely up those ladder lines.
Yeah, it didn't look so great for them out of that first manoeuvre, did it, on that left-hand boundary, but now they've wound up really nicely. I think the manoeuvres are really costly, like you say, with the big gear on for the light winds. You've got to drag all of that round the corners, so manoeuvres are definitely costly today.
Swiss team are sort of well positioned, second in the group overnight. Few points advantage over the US. So you've got to think about that race to the final. You're hoping to be in the top 2 in your group. The other group's irrelevant to you at this stage. You're just racing the people in your group. So USA and Switzerland, top left corner of our screen, that's really the battle to the final right now. Because Artemis, well, it's a little bit of a masterclass from Outeridge, Draper and co on board that boat.
Holding up from here, Nate, you'll heal. It's just back behind the jib. Holding up.
Across there, just keeping the comms up with the US. The US have found a nice wind shift at the top. They're coming back. Right of way with the Swedish team.
Oh, Nathan Outeridge just turns right in front of the Americans, so Taylor Canfield has to respect that maneuver, and Outeridge will bring it through here in gate number 3. The Americans sit behind. There you see the Germans. They'll thread the needle between the Swiss.
So they have to do another manoeuvre. They can't quite make the top. They slam straight in front of the Swiss as well. They won't be looking to do extra moves at the top. Italy coming in middle of our screen. They've got the right of way on the Swiss, but I think they might look to split away here. It looks like extra distance to the left turn, and off in the lead. Artemis move away from the fleet 5 seconds, but the whole fleet follows you, Hannah. That just makes you feel so much more comfortable tactically, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's definitely a lot more comfortable. And I think if we look strategically, there's not a lot of colour change in any of these arrows coming down the course. So it's going to be all about how you position yourself on the course for some of the shifts. It looks like Italy's gained quite a bit there, but they're going to have to manoeuvre away from that boundary. And I think we'll see them come back behind the Swiss.
So as it stands right now, it would be Artemis out in front and Switzerland in second place. They'd get the top 2 spots if it was to the final right after this race. And right now, Nathan Outeridge doing a great job, a great angle by Taylor Canfield, the Americans.
Yeah, a little bit of a gain there. I think tactically, you know, Nathan's done a nice job positioning him quite safely. Often you're happy to give a couple of meters away to give them no real opportunity to overtake. So total control for Artemis right now, and you can see they're able to just speed it up into the bottom. Artemis will be quicker after this mark. You see here, it's going to be wide in, tight out. Classic racing turn. It'll be hard for the US team to stay above the line of Artemis out of the mark. He's having to hammer the turn, but look, he's already slower.
So at gate 4, the DP World Gate, the battle is on. Artemis looks to be safely into the final. The battle really between the Americans, the Germans, and the Swiss to see who's going to get that second position as Taylor Canfield continues to keep the pressure on Artemis, and they split away with Sebastian Schneider and Explorer Swiss opting for the other side.
Yeah. And stand by.
On board the US boat. Let's see, they've got to execute everything perfectly.
Go forward. Not much grip. And turning.
Oh, you just see them put the front of the boat in the water there. They just aggressive turn, weren't quite high enough foiling into that maneuver, but they've done a nice recovery. Hans Henken, silky hands on that flight controlling coffee grinder. They're moving up the course, and they're still ahead of the Swiss as it sits at the moment. Crucial points for the US SailGP team, as you can see, coming back into good wind. Artemis, boat nice and high out of the water, platform lent on top of them. Look at this fly time percentage. They're right in the sweet spot, about 90 centimeters up. If you can get up to 100, 1 meter above the water, well, it's perfect, but you're on the limit, you're on the edge of a collapse.
Hannah, Stevie talks about these boats maybe being a little overpowered for the gear they have. I guess to put it in an analogy, would this be like a Formula One car putting on like rain slicks? It's just not quite the gear they need for the conditions they're sailing in?
You want to do
Well, I think it's really marginal, that cool, and we're insert some of the lighter patches. This is absolutely the perfect combination, but it's all about how you manage this gear. Everyone is on the same wavelength, so it's all about how do you manage the amount of power that you've got when it's upwind, the wind is a little bit stronger, and then how do you manage it when it goes downrange as well.
And Stevie, the question I think people at home may be asking is, well, why don't they just swap it out? Well, on these boats, it takes a little more time than just a quick pit stop.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, we've got, you know, 13 boats that they've had to put together today. Of course, really desperately bad news for Emirates GBR. But yeah, it's not a 2-minute job. You've got to make this call sort of 24 hours ahead, and you make it with the best information. Very adaptive. I mean, as Hannah said, the key with this, it's the same for everyone. So you can complain about it not being perfect all you like. It's all about how you as an athlete adapt to the equipment you've got. And you see the Swiss there. Wow, that's an aggressive turn. Managed to keep clean, but if they can make it to this gate, they will cut the corner on the Germans. I think they're going to be slow, though, coming in. Schneider's going to try and make it. He will be slow. Germany going to try and move over the top as Artemis. Well, one more maneuver, and they're going to be comfortably into the bottom of the course.
Gate number 5, and here comes the US SailGP team, keeping the pressure on. It is between them, the Swiss, and the Germans to see who's going to get that second position out of Group B into the final. Emirates GBR damaged their boat earlier today. They're out of it, so it's 5 boats fighting for 2 positions.
Yeah, and the Swiss team, they were slow in, and so it's hard to then exit the mark and close down on a narrow line on the inside. They've ended up wide. Germany have just slingshot around the inside. Eric Heil, absolute masterclass there on how you stay patient and wait for your opportunity to overtake. Tight at the bottom of our screen. They're so close. Germany and Switzerland, it's like, I don't know, it's like synchronized sailing going on there. Perfectly executed, really clean racing. But the Artemis team are going to get it done, Todd.
3 races and 2 victories go the way of Nathan Outridge. The win in race number 3 on Super Sunday in Group B belongs to Artemis. Second place will go to Taylor Canfield and the US SailGP team. Did they do enough to get themselves into position? Stevie, I think the question is, the Swiss still are in a good position, not giving up too much. The Germans look like they will finish in 3rd.
Well, yeah, we're still obviously hoping for another race for Group B out here. We'll wait and see what Mother Nature offers us. But yes, Canfield's done well. He's not done everything he can. As Germany, Deutsche Bank bring it in 3rd, and Explorer Swiss, well, they get a 4th. So they have stayed ahead of Red Bull Italy. Valuable point that could turn out to be. But yeah, let's see how it plays out. The US team will be looking for another good race, though, if they're going to make the final here.
All right, so the officials hoping to get more racing in, but right now, because the conditions are so good, we're planning on this fleet race. We'll go over to Group A next. They'll have a fleet race. If the wind sustains itself enough that we get another race or 2 in, we'll do it. But if not, we will go straight to the final, and it'll be the first ever 4-boat final in SailGP. So all the teams are home safely, albeit for Emirates GBR, who had the damage prior to the start of the race. But a great finish, great statement, Hannah, for Artemis to get that done. So 1 race is complete, and it's Artemis that gets the win on the first race of Sunday. Artemis, they will scream away and they will get in touch with their short crew. They'll take on some hydration and they'll wait to see what the schedule call is. Will there be more fleet racing or will they go straight into the final? Because the standings are this. Artemis has done enough to secure that top position, 14 points. 10 points belongs to Explorer Swiss, so they sit in second place. Germany Deutsche Bank and the US SailGP team, as well as Red Bull Italy and Emirates GBR, as it stands right now, will miss out on the 4-boat final. So Artemis, Explorer Swiss in top 2 spots, and they have earned their spot in the event final for Group B. So let's go back and take a look at the start of this one, Hannah. What a great race. The wind is up and it is on.
Yeah, that's right. And Artemis really took advantage of a bit of more space at the bottom of the line. They had to do a little bit of a readjust with their speed while the boats at the top of the line were really having to slow down. And they just absolutely nailed their time on distance to make sure they were at the optimum part of the line and foiling super fast to take the lead at Mark 1.
Yeah, a very different day today, and as soon as you guarantee you're foiling like you can today, you can have a totally different tactical approach. So yesterday it was a case of being at the front, holding people back. Today, Altruist saw the thing, but here, big incident right of way with the Swiss. Italy didn't give Germany the space to keep out of the way. That's why Italy ended up with the penalty. It was their fault for holding things out. There was a split in the course. It seems to be quite an open course out there, Hannah. It's really coming down to solid execution and manoeuvres and then ultimately boat speed.
Yeah, that's right. And I think it's going to be super important to make sure that you're on it on every single race today because those margins are only going to get finer.
Near perfect race for Nathan Outteridge and his team, and a perfect fly time as they get the Emirates Fly Time Award. 100% up on the foils, doing a masterful job keeping it steady, keeping it smooth, limiting maneuvers, and they take top honors on flight time in that fleet race. Well, what a day. Super Sunday here in Halifax. The sun is out, the breeze is up, and the fans are having a great time as we are now 2:15 away from the next race as we give big thanks to our local hosts. Welcome to Halifax, Nova Scotia, where high-octane racing meets the ultimate coastal vibe. Step straight off our historic waterfront boardwalk into legendary fresh seafood, vibrant craft breweries, and the warmest hospitality in Canada. Explore the historic heights of Citadel Hill, catch the action from George's Island, or soak in the rugged, world-famous beauty of Peggy's Cove. So we now turn our attention to Group A as they will have their first race here on Super Sunday as all the teams are set to go racing with under 90 seconds to go. And there are the 7 teams ready to go racing here in Group A. You've got Brazil, you've got New Zealand, you've got France, and the rest of the crew, including Denmark, Spain, and the Bonds Flying Roos. Stevie, the Bonds Flying Roos 2 for 2 yesterday. They look very strong. Do they have to push the issue today?
Oh, I think they'll still want to keep pushing. I still believe momentum's the key. What we are seeing, we're still at the top end wind speed-wise for this configuration. So the crucial thing for me is that when you come into any manoeuvres, don't get too slow. If you're slow, Hannah, the boat's going to just load up and you put a lot of risk on yourself.
And there are your standings right now. Remember, it's only the top 2 teams on points that will move into the event final, Hannah. Australia looks good. The Black Foils look good. Spain on the outside looking in, as is DS Team France.
Yeah, that's right. And I think if you're Spain and France, you've really got to be gunning to win this race. Lining up quite near the back of the box, and I think it's going to be working out that time and distance to make sure you're going as fast as you can at start time.
So here we go. It's the calm before the chaos. Under 30 seconds to go for the start of Group A. As they get lined up, Stevie, it looks like they're coming back awfully early.
Well, Australia and Denmark, to me, look like they've pushed each other close to the line. We can see out the back, Los Gallos, Black Foils. They're the 2 in a real match race to get to that final at the moment. Well, they're charging in so fast. DS Automobile France will have a gap at the bottom of the line. They've got to make sure there's a bit of an incident potentially coming. Spain, that's too aggressive, surely. Perfect timing by Los Gallos, but I would not be surprised if we hear more about that. Brilliant reactions from De La Pierre to open the gap. The Spanish, well, they needed to be brave, and at the top of the line, the Black Foils, they need to be brave. They were. Remember, top speed round this mark for these boats. We've got to be careful when they get up to 75, but do not expect anyone to take their foot off the pedal as we turn away at Mark 1.
So it's Diego Botín and Los Gallos, Spain, that roll the dice, and it comes up Yahtzee at the line as they hit mark number 1, and the Spanish will have the whole shot just ahead of the Black Foils of New Zealand.
just to let you know, Todd, I've just spoken to Chief Umpire Craig Mitchell. That was perfectly judged, apparently. That was absolutely spot on judgment. They threaded the needle, and I have to say, that was surgical precision.
4, 2, 1. Turning.
Bit of an issue dropping the board, big splash in the water. See that white splash? That just suggests the foil hit down a bit hard on the drop, but they've recovered, smoothed the boat out nicely. Black foils follow, and the Bonds Flying Rouge have split away first. They're going to be looking for a split at the bottom of the course, I'd imagine. Slowly work their way up through the fleet.
Turning.
Home team Canada, they also make the move. Looks like they're going to off that right-hand side. Here comes Mubadla, Brazil, awfully close to Canada.
Yeah, they've got to keep clear. They were late reacting. Slightly new crew lineup. They got a bit slow, late dropping the board. Didn't match the North Star Canada team. North Star are back in. New Zealand, they're off the foils. Got a bit slow on the bottom mark rounding. And North Star have perfectly executed that. Bonds Flying Rouge, they get that manoeuvre round as well. A lot of places lost by the black foils here as they're going to come out of the boundary. And it's Rockwool Denmark that split the course. They need some luck here to get themselves back in the race.
I think this is one of those scenarios where actually splitting from the group could be a bit of an advantage, even if it is the wrong way. It can be super light in that top corner out by the wharfs there with all the spectators. So it'll be all on to see who comes out of that corner well.
And look at the speed across the course right now, 23.8 kilometers an hour is the wind speed. Lisa Darman, and you're down on the water. What's it looking like? Where's the favorable side?
I think it looks to me like there's still been a little gain to those boats that did turn into the fans on the shore there right now. Los Gaios have stretched. Black foils just didn't execute a good bottom mark rounding there. They got themselves a little bit sort of high and wobbly on the exit, and that's just cost them now. They're in a really tricky position. Normally you might think to move away here, but they've got to wait till they get to a point where they can make gate 3 and 2 more manoeuvres. They've got to be patient to try and give themselves an opportunity later on. We're going to come back to the start. We're on board the Spanish boat. On the front of the Spanish boat, we're not going to really see exactly where the French are here. We might see someone come into view, but wow, Diego Botín, he had a surgical gown on for this one. He's a braver man than me coming in here. Toward legs up, brace, brace, brace. Look at the he just nips through. Goodness only knows what it looked like on board that, but look at that. I mean, going nearly 40 kilometres an hour faster. Here we go, on board the French. This will be an interesting view. So, right-hand side of screen is where the Spanish are going to come from.
Look at this.
They've got to keep clear. They've got to be sure they're ahead. Oh, I mean, there must have been, well, there was clear. The umpires called it clear, but yeah, fair play. That's braver than I would be.
Back to live racing here on leg 3 of 7. This is Group A in split fleet racing here at SailGP as we get ready for an event final with 4 boats instead of the normal 3. It is a split course situation right now as the home team, North Star Canada, they'll opt for the other side. The Bonds Flying Rouge, they will follow Los Gaios, Spain. But I'll tell you what, Canada, they could send their fans home happy, Stevie, if they can find a way to win this race.
Yeah, I think, you know, Canada, yes, they desperately need to hang on to second here and then hope they get another race to, you know, get going. The breeze looks great, so they should have that opportunity. And then for New Zealand and Spain, this will mean New Zealand, the black foils, are behind Los Gaios. This will put Los Gaios into the top 2 in this group. And again, let's have a little reminder. You've only got to be in the top 2 in your group. That's when you get to meet the other team. So it's a race within a race right now. Bonds Flying Rouge, masterclass, but they're not going to struggle. They're going to struggle to catch the Spanish from here.
Leg 4 of 7 here for group number A, so they're more than halfway home. Let's check in down on the water once again. Lisa Darmanin, is there a more favorable side of the course? What are you seeing?
Yeah, obviously everybody's favouring this turn, what the Spanish are about to do, getting into that grandstand. I think the pressure is sort of funneling down this side. There's also a nice little shear, so you get to sail less distance. And throughout the day, we are expecting the wind to rotate that way. So seems to be paying at the moment, that's for sure. But these boats look like a handful.
No question about it. Thanks, LD, as they make that turn. It's first Los Gaios, Spain, then North Star Canada, the Bonds Flying Rouge, who won both races yesterday. They're well positioned as well, and they are sailing with all kinds of confidence. Hannah Diamond, and that's a dangerous thing for the rest of the fleet.
They're really hot on the heels of the Canadians now, just working up. That's exactly what they did at the last mark rounding as well. Just put some pressure on and did a better execution at that mark rounding to take place.
Yeah. You can see it just comes down sometimes to how you do what we'd call the basics really, really well. And they just kept the boat a little bit lower in the water, a little bit more sideways grip on the boat. Flight control there, Jason Waterhouse, will have been working really hard on the foil angles, keeping the balance in the boat, and then you make a couple of meters gain, you get yourself pressurizing the boat afront. But North Star right now, they've done a nice recovery, got themselves right in front of the home fans. Expect there'll be a bit of extra motivation to go faster. We're back on board here. See Annie, she comes down, she's having a look. That's because the wind's coming over the left-hand side of the boat. They're on what we'd call port tack. They do not have the right of way. Got to be checked here clear.
It's like Mubadala Brazil is done in this race as their short crew has come aboard to help them out. Paul Goodison has taken over the driving duties, and Martini Grail sitting in the strategist position. We'll try to get some information on what happened there. Meanwhile, the racing goes on with Los Gallos, the champions of Season 4, out in front. Here comes North Star Canada putting the pressure on the Bonds Flying Roos, who are probably safely into the 4-boat final. And then you have the Black Foes of New Zealand. Pete Burling back on the line. Stevie looking very fast in their return.
Yeah, they're right in it, aren't they? And they'll be tight with the Bonds Flying Roos when we get to the top of the course here. The Black Foils are going quick. North Star have got to be careful. They've got to keep clear of the Bonds Flying Roos. So this is a big moment here for North Star. Can they cross? Time to be brave. Giles Scott is brave.
Yep.
But yeah, Black Foils are right back in this. I suspect, yeah, it sounded like you heard Blair Took say we could go for a left turn lay. So he's saying let's try and set ourselves up to turn left at the top. I suspect he's anticipating most of the other boats will turn right. If you can get going a different way, Hannah, that's how you hope to make an overtake. It's unlikely you're just going to sail past them with just speed alone, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right. And you need a few things to go your way, but I think especially knowing that they're going down to the middle of the course and then to the finish, you've got a few less options, but splitting from the fleet can be an option for you.
Here, North Star, they set up, they're going to spin in front of the Australians. Bonds Flying Roos have got no space in there. Oh, Slingsby, what a cat-like reactions. Oh, that was a really good reaction. Yes, we are going to see a split here, so there's an opportunity for the Black Foils. Slingsby, that's pretty wise hands there. See, it gets a bit tight. So they've got to, even on a different leg, they've still got to watch out for Rotwell, because Rotwell had the right of way. North Star, well, that was aggressive, but a beautifully executed manoeuvre. And Los Gallos, well, it's been a pretty perfect race.
The story of this race so far for Group A was the start put on by Los Gallos Spain as they thread the needle between France and the Bonds Flying Roos, and now they are down to the penultimate leg as they are on leg 6 of 7. There'll be a right-hand turn, and then it's off to glory land as Los Gallos, the Spanish, looking very good as they approach the finish, and we've got some congestion coming up in this last gate.
Yeah, it's going to be really tight. We see the Los Gallos coming in.
And the Emirates winning moment in race number 1 on Super Sunday for Group A goes the way of the Spanish and Los Gallos.
Oh, so tight at the bottom there. Bonds Flying Roos just ahead of the Black Foils. Oh, the Black Foils were trying to dive inside. They will have asked the question whether they had space. It didn't seem like they quite did. And North Star Canada will listen to the home crowd.
So the Canadians bring it home with a solid second-place finish. The Bonds Flying Roos will hold on for 3rd, and the Black Foils of New Zealand will grab 4th. That leaves France and Denmark still on the course. It looks like DS Team France will hold on for 5th.
Well, that was really close. Black Foils are going pretty quick, so I think they'll be feeling like, you know, give us another race and we've still got a chance of getting Los Gallos. That is for sure, because the Spanish boat there pulled a very, very aggressive manoeuvre in that pre-start. That's not a percentage play that we saw Los Gallos pull off there. That was super high risk. He got it right, but you can't keep rolling the dice and expecting to come up with snake eyes every time.
What a performance by Los Gallos and their driver, Diego Botín. Florian Triddle doing a great job as they get their boat into that tight spot, do not pick up a penalty, and they get the win by virtue of that start. As we're able now to go on board with Diego Botín. Diego, I know you're busy right now, but walk us through that start. You're a brave man, good sir.
Yeah, thank you. Let us just do the maneuver, the round that we stop and board down here. Yeah, nice. I'm with you. It was a very nice start. Obviously high risk for us, but we pulled it off, and it's what we needed to do in this case.
Diego, that was very cool. That was a little bit like an astronaut landing the jet, and you still managed to keep talking to us, so I'm very impressed with you on that one. How hard is it sailing the boat with these big wings at the moment in this breeze? Are you having to back off the full throttle?
Sometimes it feels very loaded, but it's still good. I mean, if compared it to New York was harder to sail. Today we can push the boat more, and yeah, it's very nice conditions.
Diego, we appreciate your time. You, Flory, and Nicole, you guys be safe out there. We will see you hopefully in another race. Thank you so much for your time. So what a race as Los Gallos gets it done. A 100% Emirates fly time for them as they pull off the start of the day, no question about it. So Los Gallos gets the big win in the last fleet race. Canadians out in force here as they enjoy the beautiful early summer weather as SailGP has returned to Halifax for the second time. This is the Canada Sail Grand Prix Halifax, part of the Rolex SailGP Championship. More sailing in a moment.
This year's Mubadala New York Sail Grand Prix was defined by tricky conditions, with strong gusts and a difficult sea state providing a true test for the teams out on the Hudson River.
Big heel runner pops out. Big save on the wheel by Fletcher.
Using Oracle data, we can see that the key to success came from managing the sea state and maximising time on the foils, which meant an absolutely crucial day for the flight controllers out on the F50s. In Fleet Race 1, Emirates GBR took an early lead.
Oh, Emirates GBR, beautiful.
And defended their position out in front thanks to the brilliant work of flight controller Luke Parkinson.
Luke Parkinson, one of the best flight controllers in the fleet, but you can just see how the water's moving underneath the boat there. Keeping that stability is going to be really important.
Oracle data shows us the remarkable consistency with which he maintained the stability of the foils, which allowed the Brits to comfortably win the race.
Race number 1 in New York City goes the way of Emirates GBR.
The final would ultimately come down to fine margins between the Bonds Flying Roos and Emirates GBR. The race was the closest final we've seen this season, and ultimately the managing of the conditions was pivotal. The Aussies and the Brits split at gate 2 and approached the early stages of the race from different angles.
Wow, Emirates GBR's poker face was pretty good there. He split at the last moment. It was too late for the Bonds Flying Roos to be able to cover that off.
Dylan Fletcher and Tom Slingsby were neck and neck before an incredible final turn, where the Brits tried to perform their manoeuvre early. They tried to force the Aussies into their manoeuvre.
That'll be a protest.
But very briefly dropped off the foils and lost their speed at the most critical moment.
And the Emirates winning moment goes the way of the Bonds Flying Roos.
That was really tight racing. Brilliant action here in New York. What a finish.
Waves crash underneath, sound like thunder speaking. Flying carbon machines, driven by the world's best. Yes, powered by nature, powered by nature. We are SailGP.
Well, the good news is we return back to Halifax for the Canada Sail Grand Prix, part of the Rolex SailGP Championship, is the wind is up, and that means more racing. So another fleet race for Group B as they make their way out. Now, if you're just joining us, bad news for Emirates GBR, the defending champions from last year. Big dip earlier before the racing started. They damaged their wings, so they are out. So now we've got 5 boats fighting for 2 spots in the finals. We take a look at the Group B leaderboard. It is Artemis out in front. Switzerland sits in second place. But Stevie, you're saying there's a chance for Germany and the US SailGP team.
And unfortunately, I'm only saying there's a chance for the German team. Unfortunately, the Swiss team will get a point in this race as long as they finish. So they only have to finish 5th to definitely be ahead of the US. So it's really a race between Switzerland and Germany, Deutsche Bank, to get to the final. So it'll be interesting whether they start to play with each other. Artemis will be looking to keep that momentum. Phil Robertson needs a good one. So everyone's got a lot to fight for here. There's still season points on the overall up for grabs as we line up to the start. 16 seconds to go. Switzerland have got a lovely bit of space at the top of the line. They've also just got a Rolex pole predictor on the top of their wing. They're lined up beautifully. Massive gap. They've got to drop the hammer. We're looking for the line to turn white, and it's all about the acceleration as Canfield comes in hot.
What's the shift at Mach 1?
Perfect for the US team across the start line. It's a faster angle for the Swiss, and the Germans are out the back. Eric Heil's got a lot of work to do if he's got any hope of making a final here in Halifax.
The Swiss will roll.
Canfield says he thinks the Swiss on the faster angle should roll round them. Seb Schneider, when he absolutely needed it, he's got to roll over the top, start to put some disturbed wind and slow down that US boat. Millimetres in it.
And at Mark 1 in race number 4 in Group B, it is Explorer Swiss that gets the whole shot just ahead of the US SailGP team. They are your Rolex sprint leaders, the Swiss, taking control of this race.
Happy margin for me.
Beautiful work there. They've just driven down across the front. They're going to have a faster, lower angle. You see Rebel Italy first to manoeuvre away. Last time they all wanted to turn right at the bottom, so don't expect the Swiss to go too wide. Just try and set themselves up towards that side of the course. US follow. Good news for the Swiss.
Aaron Gas here.
Coming up slowly here.
You shouldn't underestimate how hard it is to sail these boats with just 5 people. With these 27.5 metre wings, there's a maximum crew number of 5 on board, so plenty on for all of the sailors.
Italians with the right of way here, coming back at the other boats. It looks like they've gone a little bit early if they want to turn right at the bottom. Italy could well be slow when we get to gate 2 at the bottom here, which is going to add a little bit of added spice. Oh, Canfield and Robertson, that's the gift that keeps giving, isn't it, as they come in at the bottom here. USA manoeuvres straight in front of Phil Robertson, and Seb Schneider's going to lead at gate 2, Todd.
So here we go, the DP World Gate 2. This is race number 4 for Group B. It is Explorer Swiss out in front, US SailGP in second. Here comes Phil Robertson, Red Bull Italy in third, awfully close quarters. And Nathan Outard says, I've had enough of this. I'm going to split the course. He opts for the other side.
Interesting. I suppose from the Swedish point of view, Artemis are in the final.
Right.
They've just got to, deliver the boat round the course. We see the wind velocity here, so there's more wind where the Swiss are. We can see that nearly 2 kilometres an hour. That should translate to nearly 4 or 5 kilometres an hour more boat speed, but the Swiss have only just manoeuvred. That's why the number at the top of their wings lower. They're going to start to build speed.
Stevie, you know I trust that Oracle Cloud, but you know who I trust more? Lisa Darmanin, because she's down in the water. Lisa, what can you tell us, and what do the conditions look like now for the rest of this race?
Yeah, I mean, the conditions are dropping throughout the afternoon compared to maybe the first race. But yeah, exactly where the Swiss were, where the USA are right now, there's just a big puff of pressure. It's definitely a lot lighter on that other side where Artemis has gone. But as you guys were saying, I just think they're trying to stay out of trouble because it's getting really congested in this corner as they sort of get towards that grandstand and have to maneuver.
Lisa, if you get close to that grandstand, I mean, how's the vibe down there? The Canadian fans must be thrilled because yesterday it was awfully chilly. Today, it looks balmy.
It is absolutely amazing. When we just watched Canada finish that last race, the crowd was absolutely insane. So big shout out to everyone that's come back and to celebrate and to cheer them on. So really awesome to see them do well. And yeah, it's just amazing for the Halifax fans to see some really epic racing today.
Yeah, and I mean, I think what we just seen there as well is the fans are potentially adding a bit of extra boat speed to all the teams. It's massive gain for the boats that went into that side. If Artemis are out there learning about the race course, they're learning that the right turn at the bottom, the left turn at the bottom is not a good move, because Artemis have lost a lot of distance here. Not very important for them in the race to the final here. What is important is the German team are catching up with the Swiss, but they're going to need a mistake from the Swiss team if they hope to make the final here.
So Hannah, that is your battle out on the water. It is between Germany by Deutsche Bank and Explorer Swiss for that second and final transfer position. And there you see the boat positions. The Swiss came in first, they remain in first, US 2 and 2, and the Germans have moved up as they have dropped the Swedes. Artemis way back.
The Swiss have manoeuvred in a bad place, Hannah.
Yeah, they have. I think it's interesting because the Swiss have been starting well. They've been sailing really well, and I think that bit of extra space on the course is really helping them.
Germany could... Oh, the Germans did have the right to dive in there. He's chosen to follow, playing the long game.
Oh, and they spin it.
Yeah, they decided to follow. I think there's definitely more wind for that. I'm a bit surprised the Germans just didn't dive in and try and park everyone up and almost get a restart going on there. Not aggressive from Germany, and they've opened the door for the Swiss to sort of extend away again. But a few little mistakes positioning-wise from the Swiss at the moment.
Their driver, Sebastian Schneider, a 3-time Olympian, 12 national titles. He's at the wheel for Explorer Swiss, having a great race here in Canada. They won their first race. They finished in third in race number 2, and again, finishing in fourth in race 3.
Happy to stay low. We have more pressure here.
That's the voice of
Right over
Carlos
the lane.
Arafagas there at the back of the Swiss boat.
Okay, so-
Wing trimmer. So he's happy with the breeze they've got, but it's all about how lined up there. It looks to me like the Germans might have cut the corner here because they're sailing really good wind shift down the racetrack, and they could make it to gate. What do you reckon?
Yeah, I think there's definitely been a left-hand rotation in the wind, allowing the boats to sail straight down the course here. So potentially another mistake from the Swiss there.
So Hannah, as you look at the screen, you see those wind lines coming across and the intensity of where they are. Are you agreeing with what Lisa Darmanin said? Are you going to swing this boat around and head towards the grandstands?
Well, I think the history of the last couple of laps would say that this right turn at the bottom is definitely strong, but it's changing all of the time. So the strategists particularly have got to have their eyes out of the boat and make sure you're heading the right way.
Looks like Germany, Deutsche Bank, and Red Bull Italy with Phil Robertson. They're going to try the other side. Nathan Outridge, again, as Stevie's pointed out, playing it safe. They're already into the final, and another hesitation as Germany by Deutsche Bank. Stevie makes an extra maneuver. They're going to opt for the right.
Just rushing things a little bit. I mean, if you wanted to get yourself on Wikipedia or Google, look up Coriolis, Todd, and that will tell you actually that typically when the land is on the left-hand side of the course with the wind like this, there will be more wind there. So this is actually science and Mother Nature working well for us right now. But yeah, you can expect more wind in there. That's why the US team are heading there. That's why Lisa Darmanin loves it in on that side of the course. But right now, the Swiss, well, they've made a mistake or two, but they're lucky in that Germany, Deutsche Bank have perhaps made a couple more.
And we know that the breeze is forecast to drop throughout the day. And when we started the day, we were up at sort of 26, 27 kilometers an hour. Now we're down to between 16 and 19. So quite a big change in the weather conditions.
All right.
Probably in the sweet spot for the configuration out there now, Han.
Yeah, I think.
So this is like 5 of 7, the fourth race for Group B here in Split Fleet Racing. They did this, the league, to basically keep the congestion with the conditions that they had yesterday, Stevie. They carried over today, but that gives us a 4-boat final. First time we've seen that in SailGP history.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see how the teams choose to play it out, and you know the same things kind of will come into effect. Is how do you find more breeze on the course to get this boat speed up? And the US, they're stretching their leg, they're sailing the boat just aggressively fast around the racetrack. And you can see there, Germany, Deutsche Bank, that missed manoeuvre has let Red Bull Italy pass them. So Phil Robertson, he's looking to sign off here with a good one. But Canfield, well, what a second day that US team have had. And but for one slightly marginally unlucky call in a race yesterday, what a different story it could be. But coulda, woulda, shoulda.
Race number 2 where the US finished in 6th place, and it's coming back to haunt them because they finished second in the first race of today for their group. And it looks like they may take a win here as Taylor Canfield's got Lady Liberty looking very good in Halifax right now. They'll spin the boat around again, opt for that right-hand side. We'll see what Sebastian Snyder and Explorer Swiss do. It looks like he's heading closer to shore. Nope, he's going to spin as well.
Yeah, I think there's a bit more wind in this bottom left-hand corner of our screen here. Germany again, they're not quite close enough to make an aggressive move. I wonder if Phil Roux not pushing it in there at the top of the course last time round. But the Germans have found more wind. You can just tell there's more wind because Germany have passed the Italian team by coming to the side where the US are. So more wind, generally speaking, just means more boat speed.
And as it stands right now, there is your race to the final for Group B. It would be Artemis getting in, even though they sit in 5th place right now. Explorer Swiss would get enough points to take over and hold on to that second position from Germany, Deutsche Bank, and the US SailGP team, as we talked about, just going to miss out, it looks like, because did not have enough points on day number 1.
Turning up in 5, Hans. 3, 2, 1. A nice slow turn, okay?
Nice calm communications on board the US SailGP team as everyone's on that right-hand side. They spin it around the corner and they can see the grandstand and the finish line in the distance. What a way to finish for the US SailGP team as they will get a big win here. And the Emirates winning moment in race number 4 for Group B belongs to the US SailGP squad.
And turning.
They had a really nice race there. Explorer Swiss, well, they look like they've just managed to go around the outside of Germany, Deutsche Bank, who've done pretty well. Germany now have got to be careful. Red Bull Italy, as soon as they overlap, it's right of way Red Bull Italy, and you know Phil Robertson's not going to make it easy for you. That's one thing that's as sure as Christmas coming on the 25th of December. That's an aggressive move by Red Bull Italy.
Penalty Germany, not keeping clear, go behind Italy.
That's all. That'll be cleared up now. He was behind at the finish there, so Italy got through to 3rd there. Good work by Phil Robertson and Eric. Well, it's a difficult race for them.
Yeah, Artemis brings it home, and that is the entire Group B. So the USA gets a big win here in Halifax, Canada. So Taylor Canfield and his crew end the day on a big note as they get a first-place finish in front of the fans here in Halifax. So they will take that momentum and build towards the next event, which is coming up in just a matter of 3 weeks' time. Of course, it'll be the Emirates Great Britain Sail Grand Prix in Portsmouth. That comes up on July 25th and 26th. But a great way for them to do a great showing, Stevie, at the end. I mean, they had the form, and you talk about it, the one problem they had on day number one, but they are good to go now, and they are good to speak with us as we go down on the water. Taylor, congratulations to you and your crew. That was a great way to cap off the final day. How do you guys feel about your performance here in Halifax?
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, good day for us. You know, definitely a bummer yesterday. You know, giving up a few points, and yeah, but overall, you know, we went to the drawing board last night and made some good adjustments and changes. Obviously, that showed up today on the racetrack.
Yeah, Taylor, I'm not going to remind you about how unlucky you got with that left turn in the race yesterday where you lost a few places. How tricky is the race course today? What advice would you be giving anyone that wanted to do well?
Yeah, tricky racetrack, but yeah, you know, I think we had a good grip on it, and you know, the whole team performed really well, and yeah, it's definitely upper hinge for the big wings and big foils, so you know, managing the power at times is tricky, but yeah, overall, I think, again, I think we did a great job front to back.
Taylor, appreciate your time. Congratulations on a great Super Sunday. We look forward to seeing you guys in Portsmouth. So Taylor Canfield and the U.S. SailGP team, a great Super Sunday for them, just not enough points on Saturday in very challenging conditions, and this is how the final results are. It is Artemis that wins the group with 15 points, 1 point behind Explorer Swiss. So those top two teams, they are into the event final. U.S. SailGP, Germany, Deutsche Bank, Red Bull, Italy, and Emirates GBR, they come up short. They now turn their attention to event 8 coming up in the UK.
And let's take a look back at this start. And it was Explorer Swiss who had most of the line to themselves, knowing that none of the other boats further down the line could get to them. From here, they actually had a much better angle to Mark 1. So even though the US SailGP team were really tight on the line, it was definitely a great drag race, but Explorer Swiss just making advantage of that better angle to take the take the lead at Mark 1.
And we just had then some sort of good tight racing, didn't we, around the racecourse? We learned a little bit that there's better breeze away from the shore at the top, and just some slight errors here. You see the US manoeuvre, well, they make it to the bottom gate by turning there, and the Swiss sailed that extra distance. If you sail an extra 200 metres, you're going to lose.
Yeah, that's right. And you had to keep your eye on strategy, and I think a couple of mistakes from the Swiss just allowed the US SailGP team to take the Emirates winning moment.
And the Emirates fly time for U.S. SailGP, 100%. Nice way to wrap up the day for Taylor Canfield and his crew as they found their form on the waters here in Halifax on Super Sunday. Unfortunately, they're going to come up about 4 points too little to make it into the event final. Well, it is an absolute beautiful day here in Halifax at the Canada Sail Grand Prix, part of the Rolex SailGP Championship. The folks taking full advantage of the Vela Beach Club as we get you ready for the final fleet race of the day here in Canada. So coming up on 40 seconds to go before the start of the last race out on the water, and there is the race to the finish. Australians have been so rock solid, Stevie. They are in the position right now with Los Gallos, Spain, the top two. New Zealand just on the outside looking in. So your battle really is between Spain, New Zealand. Canada's probably too far away to get there, but those are the three boats, Australia, Spain, and New Zealand.
Yeah, you're exactly right. It's between those three boats. The Australians need an average one. They've got to be fourth or better to be sure to be in the final, and they've got space up the line and a Rolex pole predictor on the top of them. Big bunch group at the bottom, favoured position middle of the line, but I love where the Bonds Flying Roos are right now. I don't see a gap for the black foils, and wait for Slingsby to wind it up here. He turns to the line. How's your timing, Tom Slingsby?
This is the umpires.
It should be over
Early start penalty, Canada.
Oh, and it's good news for the black foils. Bad news for Spain, and well, absolute perfection from Slingsby. Wound it up and struck it out the park with that start when he needed it most. Can the black foils roll over the top of DS Automobile France? They need to be at least one boat between them and the Spanish if they want to get into the final. That's where we've got to be focused for the rest of this race. Spain have got work to do.
Right down.
Hey, that's right, turn.
So at mark number 1, it's the Bonds Flying Roos as the rich keep getting richer. The Black Foils back in the game, sit in second place. Third place right now looks like belongs to DS Team France.
Yeah, you see that dark patch of water? That's, I think, the breeze that Lisa's been talking about near the shore. Really big gust of wind close into the fans. I don't think that's just the cheering fans managing to energise the breeze out there. Slingsby now, he just got to be smooth from here.
Your Rolex sprint leaders, the Bonds Flying Roos, they are in form, no question about it. Winners of the last 3 events. They've won 4 of the 6 events so far this season.
Spain have done a nice move by spinning away early here. They now have the right of way as they come back towards the fleet. Expect most boats to try and turn right at gate 2. That's what we've seen all day. Spain are looking for some mistakes from other boats. They've overtaken one. They look like they're past Rockwall. But they've got to overtake another boat. They've got to be right behind the Spanish. At the moment they're making it happen, the Spanish are. They've got to potentially give room to the French at the bottom. Rockwall and North Star Canada are going to... Oh no, Rockwall choose to follow. Patient work there. Black Foils go round, but the Black Foils have got to keep the French close and not let the Spanish get right behind them if they want to make the final.
And Giles Scott and North Star Canada, the only boat to opt for the other side. They avoid that big pileup on there, but will they pay the price for less breeze? We can also tell you that Brazil, Mubanda Brazil, unable to go in this race, so their day is done. So you've got 6 boats basically fighting for 2 spots, and the Bonds Flying Roos have got to have already secured 1 spot, Stevie. There you see the race to the final, 5 points clear of the Black Foils. So the Black Foils and Los Gallos really battling out for the last position.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Bonds Flying Roos are pretty much down the road right now. I'm sure Hannah will keep us honest on the points as things go on. But what was interesting was the Spanish did a better manoeuvre out of gate 2. They will have made a gain from that manoeuvre. The Australians, there you go. So it's an arm wrestle here between the Spanish and New Zealand. If it stays with just 4th and 5th, that's enough for Los Gallos. The Spanish have to sort of stay directly behind New Zealand and they'll make the final. North Star have the right of way here. Tricky decision for the Spanish to make right now. This is going to get very awkward for them very quick unless they can sneak across in front.
Right, stay 2, Siege. Yeah, you got it.
So Black Foils, expect, as we move up towards the boundary, expect the Black Foils to move exactly when Los Gallos move to try and slow down the Spanish boat here.
A tight crossing there, Hannah.
They've done really well there, the Black Foils, as 2 boats having to dip behind North Star Canada, who did really well actually from that left turn at the bottom, but Black Foils been sailing really nicely to hold that tight lane on the Spanish all the way across here.
France have made a bit of a gain. France look good, so there's definitely good wind out that side. Black Foils manoeuvre, Rockwall are back in it. The New Zealand team have got to make something happen here. They dropped back a lot of places. Oh, they got it on the foil though, and the French are slow trying to build. Could be a chance to gain. It's going to be really awkward up the course. Tactically very difficult for the Black Foils as we come up to the top here. Where are Los Gallos?
Look at Liv Mackay getting a better bird's eye view there. She comes up and checks the left side of the boat.
Yeah, and you see left-hand side of the screen there, Spain. They've managed to keep themselves in a bit of space. They're just on the edge of our camera. That little bit of lateral separation, Spain are a bit closer to the bottom of the screen than New Zealand. That means that when New Zealand manoeuvre, they're going to have a problem with Spain. Spain will have the right of way when the Black Foils manoeuvre, so Burling needs to be sure of getting across in head, and I think the Spanish have just sailed a little quicker across here. Here goes Burling, he's got to be sure to be ahead. It's tight, tight, tight. Oh, I tell you what, Diego Botín will be asking Craig Mitchell.
He's going to sell it.
Wait here, see if we can hear anything. Rockwall are on the foils, but they've not got right of way in there on Black Foils. They have on the Spanish.
There we go. Left here. Not too bad.
This is why they are the best in the world, Hannah, to be able to put your boat in that tight a quarter.
This is just what you don't want. If you've got a tight battle between 2 boats to try and make that final, you don't want someone who's not in contention of taking your spot in the final, getting mixed up in your own little battle.
And that decision is under review. Green flag! Green flag! Burling by millimetres has snuck across the front of Los Gallos. Oh, water cool! That could be it in the race to the final.
Even on points right now with Los Gallos, but if they win or finish ahead of Los Gallos in this race, they will get that 2nd position into the final.
Well, the crucial boat now, Todd, is Rockwall. If Spain can overtake Rockwall, Spain will beat the Black Foils. As it sits at the moment, they're equal on points, but in SailGP, we always know that whoever does better in the last race gets to the final, and the fans are frothing.
Kiwi fans are on their feet, and we've got a good one. It's between New Zealand and Spain. Who will get the last position as Australia sails away?
Fisher's going to be better in front here.
Oh, and it looks to me like the Blackfoils have gone a bit wide. They've sailed a bit of extra distance. Difficult management here, the Blackfoils. Look, they're struggling to get forward on Rockwool, Denmark. A mistake by the Blackfoils down here. Bit of extra distance potentially sailed. Or they're trying to force Rockwool up. No, he's just trying to force Rockwool up, but he's potentially making life very difficult for himself here.
Right now, Nikolai Sehested, the driver for Rockwool, Denmark, is Diego Boutine's best friend as they make the maneuver. There you see the Bonds Flying Roos on the right-hand side of your screen. They're into the final. Here comes North Star Canada, the home team with Giles Scott, Olympic gold medalist. And now you've got Pete Burley, Diego Boutine, and Nikolai Sehested all headed for the same direction.
Sehested, will he manoeuvre away? It's been favouring the right turn on average. They're all going straight. If they go straight, the Spanish are... Oh, no, there go Rockwool. Crucial manoeuvre here. They split the course. Blackfoils are still ahead of the Spanish, but Spain will be ahead of Rockwool at this gate. It's all about where the best wind is upwind. Lisa, what are you seeing?
Right here, do you want to get onto the left, Shirley?
Yeah, the day is changing dramatically. The wind's dropped off a lot and the course has moved, so the course geometry is a little bit different, which is why we saw those left turns. Australia and Canada, they're not foiling. Rockwool's managed to stay on the foils as they head towards the grandstand and pick up the breeze on the left-hand side first. So, yeah, it's changing out here and it's getting tougher and tougher.
All right, you see the wind across the board, as Lisa referred to. It's 17 kilometers an hour. That's across the course right now, as it's hovering right between 17 and 18. So, Hannah, what do you do with just 2 legs left if you're Spain, if you're New Zealand?
There's actually quite a lot of racing left, and exactly like Lisa said, it feels as though the day's changed quite a bit since the earlier races. We're just starting to see boats sailing with one hull in the water. If I'm Spain, I'm going to stay right on the heels of New Zealand. That's all you can do. Interestingly, we've got Rockwool, Denmark. They've just done a foiling manoeuvre at the top of the screen there. Not sailing a great angle, but it's definitely a different day to what it was earlier.
And you see the green on top. That means they can be up and foiling over 30 kilometers an hour. There's New Zealand. They hit the mark. With this configuration, Stevie, is it around 30 or is it need to be more?
Yeah, it's around 30 again, but you see the Blackfoils are foiling. Rockwool's foiling, Los Gallos are about to foil, and it looks like it's been a gain to the side of the course where Blackfoils and Los Gallos went, so it's not good news for the Blackfoils fans at the moment because they do need that Danish boat between them. Such a tricky thing to manage right now. I think on board the Blackfoils, all you can do is sail yourself as fast as possible and see if you can stop the Spanish somewhere near the finish line. Absolute tactical masterclass happening here from Burling in terms of controlling the Spanish boat, but he's got to try and manipulate the situation to let Rockwool fill the gap. Rockwool coming towards more wind. Could be good news for the Danish.
And 4.
It does look like Diego's doing exactly what you said, Hannah, and just sort of being super patient and in some ways hoping. But again, you've got to keep just doing the right thing when you're in the boat that position. Don't do something crazy. Don't panic. Keep doing the right thing. And then let's see what we get. 200 metres to the top end of this course. And there's another decision for the teams to make. Do you turn right? Do you turn left?
I think the Spanish will know that if they just stay, they know they're kind of fast. If they can stop any boats getting in between them, then the chance of the Blackfoils being able to convert that into a position that will put them into the final is really difficult. So they're doing, for me, exactly the right thing. Easier said than done, though, to sit on the tail of a boat that is sailed very well.
What a story that would be if Pete Burling, after almost 4 months off, gets the boat back on the water and gets himself into an event final right away. He's in a battle right now with Los Gallos and the Spanish. So can they do enough? And hoping that someone can get in between. I think it's tough, Pete. I mean, Stevie, if you're hoping for Peter Burling to make a mistake, good luck. If you're hoping for Diego Boutine to make a mistake, good luck.
No, absolutely. And I think, to be perfectly honest, I think you can't expect for that. They managed to get a split from North Star Canada. So there's a chance that the Blackfoils can gain on the Canadians, but with home crowd fever pitched on the shore, it seems unlikely they're going to make a mistake as well. So I think, yeah, maybe a bit too little for the Blackfoils.
This is the shot as they make their way towards the grandstand. Once again, the fans in Halifax will welcome home the green and gold, the winners of the race, the Bonds Flying Roos.
And look at this, Blackfoils, this is because he's trying to slow up and get in a match race with the Spanish. He's trying to give the Spanish a really difficult position.
Second place belongs to the home team. Take a bow, North Star Canada.
Yeah, Burling's trying to set it up. He's got to try and slow up the Spanish boat and let the Rockwool team catch him and then dive across the finish line just before the
Danes.
Here we go. Absolute carnage here, potentially the Spanish. Here we go. So now Rockwool shoot to the line. Blackfoils turn to the line. The Blackfoils have done enough potentially to open the door for Rockwool. It's going to be all about the finish line here. Blackfoils have got to get across across in third, and then it'll be who can get there first.
Too close to call. Did he get it?
Burling, that was some action. I think Diego made it. I think Spain have got across the finish line there. They did get across in fourth. They beat Rockwell by about half a metre.
Oh, mercy.
Wow. 3 boats on the line there, magic. Oh, what a moment. I mean, fair play, and yeah, the Spanish were just patient. Let's not make a mistake.
What a performance as Pete Burling pulled out every magic trick he knew. There's no hocus pocus junk there. He was trying to pull off the move of the century, and here it is. The points now official. The Bons Flying Roos are in, as is Los Gallos, Stevie Hanna, by 1 single point.
Yeah, and had they been tied, Black Foils would have gone in because they'd done better in that last race. So yeah, the distance, well, we'll see it back later, won't we? The distance between Rockwell and Spain at the finish there was, I'm pretty sure, less than a metre.
Wow. So Diego Motin with the start of the day and the finish, and here it is at the line one more time. New Zealand's across. It was between Spain and Rockwell, Denmark. Oh, you know, Pete Burling was saying, come on, Nikolai, get there.
Well, yeah, and those tickets in that grandstand are worth being on right now, I'd say, because what a view they'd have had of that.
Well, no rust on the Black Foils of New Zealand as Pete Burling and his crew look like they are in peak season form after a long layoff after the boat damage to them in Auckland. So it is going to be Los Gallos, Spain, the Bons Flying Roos, Artemis, and Explorer Swiss in the first ever SailGP 4-boat final. That is the answer to a trivia question. So as we catch our breath, we head back down on the water, and look at that man, cool as a cucumber, Diego Motin. Take us through that last leg. You saw what Pete Burling and the Black Foils were trying to do, and you kept your eye out. What did you know, and had you done the math in your head, knowing exactly where you needed to be?
Yeah, well, they needed to put a boat between them and us to go into the final, and yeah, it was quite clear that they were going to try to slow us down, and yeah, they did a good job actually. They gave themselves a chance in a very tough situations, but we just pulled it off. So good. Focus on the final now.
Yeah, absolutely. And thinking about the final, Nicole, how do you see a 4-boat final? This is the first time we're going to have done a 4-boat final. I don't know if you can hear me, Nicole, but have you had a bit of a talk about that as a team?
Yeah, it's going to be a first, so yeah, we just, I think, need to approach it like we're approaching every race and try to understand the conditions. They're changing quite a lot out here, so just try to do as good as a job as we can on the conditions and on technique.
Hey, and Florian, can you dial up another start like you had on that last race? Yeah, he's not giving away any information, is he?
Yeah. I think we're going to focus now on 4 boats, which is going to be quite interesting, and definitely the wind scenario has changed a bit from the beginning of the day to now, so yeah, eyes out and see if we can get a good race.
All right, appreciate it, Spain. We wish you the best of luck as we take a look at the final results for both Group A and Group B. Group B, it belongs to Artemis and Explorer Swiss. Group A, the heavy hitters, Stevie, the Bons Flying Roos and Los Gallos, Hannah. I tell you what, we got a mix and a little bit of everything, but you look at the drivers that are in these groups, and they are well seasoned, no question about it.
Yeah, that's right. I think it's going to be a really exciting final. Obviously, the first time we've had 4 boats, so maybe a slightly different dynamic, but I can't wait to see it get it started.
All right, let's take a look at some of the highlights before we get you ready for the event final here on a beautiful day here in Halifax. And Hannah, as usual, it goes back to the start. And who would have thought to leave the Bons Flying Roos all alone?
Yeah, Bons Flying Roos have really been on fire with their starts today, and there was quite a big battle at the bottom of the line with the Black Foils and the Spanish really pushing for that last place to try and get into the final. It was North Star Canada who were over early, but there was one boat which was miles ahead of the fleet. The Bons Flying Roos took the lead at Mark 1, and we didn't really see them for the rest of the race, but there was plenty of action in the back of the pack.
It was tight, and it was that good example of when you can find space on the racetrack and be away from other boats, you get to stretch your legs. In those first 2 boats, North Star, they sailed a fantastic race, but yes, what a titanic battle. Rockwell were kind of like the supporting act in what was a total drama at the bottom, and it went to the wire, didn't it, Hannah? And Burling tried every trick he had.
Yeah, he did, and I think it's so hard to be able to not only sail your boat fast, but try and influence other boats. So to be at 55 kilometers an hour, trying to make sure you beat the Spanish, but also try and allow Rockwool Denmark through. Really impressive sailing from the Black Foils.
So welcome back, Pete Burling and company. They just missed out on the final. The Emirates Fly Time Award goes the way, as Stevie said, the supporting actors, as they go 99.9% of fly time. So a great job by Nikolai Sejested and his crew on board Rockwell Racing.
Let's take a look at the Rolex Precision athletes of the day. We've got Diego Botín for that start, where he was so precise in being able to fit between two of really closely lined up F50s and be able to absolutely nail that time on distance to the start. Andrew Campbell, strategist on the US SailGP team. And we've got Chris Draper and Annie Maloney, who will feature in their first final coming up in just a second.
So we are set to go in Halifax. The Canada Sail Grand Prix, part of the Rolex SailGP Championship, will be a first ever, as the 4 protagonists will get themselves ready for a final. It'll be Artemis, Explorer Swiss, Bonds Flying Ruse, and Los Gallos Spey in the final when we return to racing.
So Magnus is our reserve sailor on our team, and our relationship with Magnus goes almost all the way back to where we started our team, you know, when he was a very young sailor.
I started sailing after the 2012 Olympics, where I watched Jonas Høgh, him fighting out Ben Ainsley for the gold medal in London. That kind of lit a little fire in me, and then I started sailing the next day, basically, at my local club. I think I was 9 years old. From there I went through the youth classes, and then I had started foiling in 2021 in the Wasp class. And did a few years there, and ultimately ended up becoming world champion and winning most things in that class. And that led me to get a call from Rockwell.
We did some different camps called Rock the Boat, where we was trying to find talent, and he was obviously the most talented one on these camps, so we picked him up and took him in, and that gives us a good opportunity to teach him slowly.
I need to be covering the driver, the wing trimmer, the flight control, and all the roles on board, basically. So I'm always ready with my sailing gear with me. But for racing, normally I'm in the coach booth, help painting the picture for Nikolai and the guys on board. And then, you know, on land, I'm sort of running our simulator side of it. So I'm, making sure everything's up to date and what we want to achieve with the simulator. As well as sailing, I study applied mathematics. So yeah, I'm wearing a few hats, but it's awesome. Me personally, I'm striving to, be sailing these boats and be skippering them one time in the future.
What I've told Magnus many times is, don't be afraid of saying what you want. Like, say you want to have my seat, you want to drive the boat. And then people, when he says that's like, oh, take it easy. He shouldn't. If you don't say it out loud, I mean, why should anyone believe you if you don't even believe it yourself? And that's why he's here. He's here to take over from me one day. The second that we have someone better in any position available, ready to go, we're going to put that person in that spot. It's about the team.
Being 22 years old and traveling around the world, racing sailboats and being involved with this is, I couldn't imagine anything cooler. SailGP is probably the coolest job in the whole world.
Waves crash underneath, sound like thunder speaking. Flying carbon machines, driven by the world's best. Yes, powered by nature, we are SailGP.
Back in the beautiful city of Halifax for the Canada Sail Grand Prix as we get you ready for the final. Stevie Morrison, Hannah Diamond, Lisa Darmanin, and Todd Harris with you. And I'll tell you what, if you are a fan of the Bonds Flying Ruse, the winners of the last 3 events and winners of 4 of 6, you got to love this moment. Stevie and Hannah, you look at the Bonds Flying Ruse, this was the winning moment in the last race. Their report card from 4 fleet races, first, and a third.
Wow. It's only this next race that matters though, Todd. But yeah, Tom Slingsby seems to be pretty accustomed to finishing first at the moment, but this one's the one that counts.
All right, 1:20 to go before the start of the first ever 4-boat event final in SailGP history here in Season 6. Hannah, with 4 boats, doesn't really change the dynamic a whole lot, a little tighter at the start. Where do you want to be, especially knowing these characters that you're lined up against?
Well, I think we've seen that the leg to Mark 1 can be pretty long, so you've got to not only be fast at the gun, but you've also got to be sailing the optimal angle. So we'll have to see where that is dependent on the shift, but with 4 boats, it is going to be a different dynamic.
And we'll keep our eye on the wind. As Lisa Darman has been reporting throughout the day, the wind is dropping off. There you see the wind lines there, as you see the direction and the strength. So it will be the Bonds Flying Roos that go to the very back of the start box. Switzerland turns in front of them. There's Artemis. They turn in front of them as well, so it's already getting a little messy, Stevie. And here comes Spain.
Yeah, those 2 boats, the bottom right-hand corner that are together, are going to be potentially slowing each other up. Interesting fact, we saw it on that graphic before. Australia, they've won a lot of events. Spain have won a lot of events. The Swiss and the Swedish have never won an event in SailGP. Let's keep that in mind as we watch things, as the Rolex pole predictor sits on top of the Swiss boat at the top of the line. Middle of the line's a favoured place to be. I like where Artemis is right now. It's all going to be about the wind-up and the strike, though, from here, as we see Los Gallos dive below Artemis. They come in fast. Great position for Botin, and now we're looking for the line to turn white. It's going to be blanket start. Oh, Tanica, look at it. That's why they're paid the big bucks as they come out of the line, blazing towards Mark 1. Fastest angle for the Swiss. Tactical advantage to the Australians, but I think the Spanish are perfectly positioned to lead at Mark 1.
And you couldn't have dialed it up any better. 4 wide as they approach Mark 1. This is the event final here in Halifax. 4 boats competing for top honors.
It's tight on the overlap. I think that the Spanish are still just about in control at Mark 1. Just. Oh, that was brilliant there. So now, big advantage to the Spanish. They're lining things up down the course, but you've got to execute this first manoeuvre. Artemis, they spin away. Got to make something happen. Roll the dice time. Rolex sprint leader, Diego Botin. Accurate manoeuvres. Look at the breeze on the shoreline. Lovely gust of wind where the Spanish are right now. Vamos, I understand that. Let's go, guys.
And big trim up when you can get here.
That breeze holding 20 kilometers, just dipping below across the course. Explore Swiss as we go on board, doing a great job making it to the final. They've never won an event. Is today the day for Sebastian Schneider and his crew?
They've done a nice job. They've set in that extra breeze down the boundary. I suspect we probably look for most teams to take that right turn if they can. So Spain in the box seat, Explorer Swiss, where they shut down the second. I like the angle where Spain are. Should be able to do a fast exit from here and now. Are you patient on Artemis, or do you split? I think you've got to be patient. It looks like a big bias to the right turn at the bottom here.
So as they reach gate number 2, the DP World Gate here in the event final, it is Spain out in front. Explorer Swiss comes in second. The Bonds Flying Roos in third, and Artemis, the rookie team, they sit in fourth.
They're going to spin it on the mark, I think, Todd. They're going to go for a turn straight round here, and a tricky manoeuvre that.
Yeah, really hard to pull off, but it looks like they've done it really nicely. I think if you're at the back, you want an open course, you want options. Whereas if you're at the front, like Los Gallos, you're really happy to see everyone following behind you.
And interesting there, because they did it right on the mark, they were over speed for a tricky manoeuvre, and it's not easy foiling manoeuvres out there. So actually Artemis have gained a lot, because look, you see the Swiss manoeuvre on the side, but they fall off the foils. Clever sailing for the Swedish team there. Nice gain. Lisa, that was pretty clever by Artemis. Where do you see the breeze right now?
Yeah, it's not so much where the breeze is, but it looks like the angle is what's sort of hurting everyone that didn't do that manoeuvre. So Artemis, everyone else is sort of pointing towards the back of Artemis. So I'm expecting them to kind of sail around the bows. So big move by Nathan there. But what we're seeing is that the top of the course is very different to the bottom of the course. So as the next couple of minutes, I think that right-hand side where they're going is really going to start to pay.
We'll see if Lisa is the proverbial Nostradamus in Halifax right now as Artemis makes the turn. Look what's waiting for him. There is Spain right there. They'll dip behind. It is still the Spanish out in front. Artemis now inherits second place. Here comes the Bonds Flying Roos as Switzerland has to dip behind them.
I mean, brilliant by the Spanish. They might not have been perfect at the bottom gate, but they've got themselves right back in. Spain have got to be careful. If the Swedish team can get alongside, it will be right of way then, but the Spanish have gapped off there. Nearly 7 kilometers an hour slower, though. This one's going to be tight. Do you think about the Swiss team anymore as those top 3, Hannah, or have they got themselves out of the battle? Different sort of thought process with 4 boats?
Yeah, I think it is a different thought process, but I think the thing is with these 3 boats is they are in phase with the shift and the pressure, so they'll be pretty confident that the Swiss are not in phase, so they should be gaining on the Swiss all of the time. I think if these 3 boats find themselves out of phase, then it's a slightly different conversation.
Yeah, there, Diego asking Nicole, tell me when they set up. So she's already gone to the other side of the boat. She's watching for some of the Swedish and some of the Australian sailors cross the boat. Brilliant manoeuvre by the Swedish.
Entering up.
They make it ahead, and if Slingsby going to keep this amazing run he's been on alive, he's got to make something happen soon here. I suspect all the teams will follow each other right now and wait for the next mistake to play out.
One, down.
Fast turn. And hit it.
Careful, cut, Joey. Front edge, no?
So on to leg number 4 of 7 here in the event final. Los Gallos still with the lead. Artemis sits in second. Here comes the Bonds Flying Ruse.
Spain lead the manoeuvre there. That's an interesting call here.
Better push it the other way, you're right.
Yeah, so they all like there's more wind in towards the fans on the shoreline, is what Slingsby's suggesting. So I think it's a bit of a roll of the dice for Australia right now.
20 boundary.
See Slingsby looking around. He's not sure of this call.
Hannah, what's he looking for? Tom Slingsby's got his head on a swivel.
Yeah, that's right. And the breeze is really changeable. We know that it's dropping. They've split slightly, and at the moment it doesn't look like it's the right decision, so they'll have to wait a little bit and see. They'll definitely be disappointed to be in third at the moment, and I think probably just keeping pressure on Artemis would have been the thing to do there.
I think because the Spanish, the one advantage normally of leading is you can see things and make the first decision. The disadvantage of leading is you've got to make the decision. If you're in a sort of slower boat, slower moving things, you can often wait for the other people to make a call. Diego was very positive with his decision making there, and that then closed all the options down for the Australians quickly. Another point coming here. Looks like there's less distance for the left turn. So again, potentially the Swedish team are going, oh no, it looks like they're setting up on board Sweden. Outridge is potentially going to split the course here, or look for an early manoeuvre as he did last time. Yeah, expect the Swedish to spin on the mark again.
Right here and soft.
Over speed, should be able to stay foiling.
Yeah, there it is.
I say that, but it's one of the most complicated manoeuvres you can do in sailing. So, but it was brilliantly executed using that extra boat speed that they had, and they're now foiling. Can Spain stay foiling? They're too slow on the numbers. Brilliant by the Swedish again, and they're sailing back towards that side of the course. Lisa, what are you seeing? It's been good on by the fans before. Is this the chance for Artemis?
Yeah, Artemis are in a really strong position here. The pressure sort of moved down the course and strong all the way to the shore. So I think that the Spanish have a bit on here with just a couple maneuvers left.
So we're on leg 5 of 7. It is Artemis that has now moved, not quite in the lead, but as Lisa pointed out, a strong position. They have never won in SailGP before. Their driver, Nathan Outridge, very experienced, but can Los Gallos get their first win of Season 6? The champions in Season 4 trying to desperately hold on to this first place position.
Yeah, and they've managed to keep themselves out of phase. You want to be going the opposite direction to the boat ahead. If he'd waited longer, it would have been an easy decision for the Spanish to make. It's aggressive from the Artemis team here, and they're in a good breeze. You see it's quite a dark patch of water there, so Spain still have a good lead. One manoeuvre ahead is Artemis. But when they meet each other next time, if it's close, Sweden will have the right of way.
Look at the speed on tour up Sweden's mast. They're at 50 kilometers an hour. Spain has dropped down to 38.
Just takes so long to build speed out of the maneuvers with these big foils. So looking a little bit better for Artemis just now.
Yeah, theoretical ladder lines are that way, favouring. Still going 10 kilometres out faster. There's just got to be more breeze where Artemis is at the moment. The wind whisperer feels like he's whispering. There you go, if they stick this manoeuvre. Oh, can they stay foiling?
It's
Spanish set up. Oh, Artemis are ahead on paper. They're ahead on paper at the moment. The Bonds Flying Ruse are out the back. They've lost a lot here. What do you do on board Artemis? I think it's a right turn favoured. Spain will do the opposite to the Swedish, I would suggest. Here we go. Well, it's going to come down to where there's more wind. They're going to be absolutely neck and neck at the top of the course. 2 more manoeuvres to do for Spain, 1 more for Artemis. Who finds more breeze on the downwind leg? Can Artemis win their first ever race in SailGP?
Or will Spain win their first of the 2026 season, the champions of Season 4? They've been in a bit of a drought. They've been in some finals, but they are looking for the win.
Yeah, there's the Oracle Cloud, Hannah. It looks like a little bit more wind on the Swedish, but Spain look like they've got a good angle. It's potentially a gain to the Spanish at the moment.
Yeah, they did have an extra manoeuvre to do, but it looks like they've pulled that off quite painlessly, and it's going to be really close here.
As soon as you're going downwind, Todd, the manoeuvres aren't as painful. Yep, Spain have got it right. Oh, what a cool Bobotine at the top of the course there.
Here we go, leg 6 of 7. It's a right-hand turn, and then a championship is win distance. Here comes Nathan Outteridge and Artemis. They're speeding on. Here's the maneuver of the match. Can Diego Botín and his crew pull it off? A stay up on the foils, and it's a right-hand turn and a drag race to a win.
2, 1, up.
Spain are nearly matching speed, I think, with Artemis now. If Artemis have got to try and dive outside and look to overlap. Disturbed wind onto the Swedish right now. The Swedish should be getting slowed by the Spanish, and it's control to Los Gallos.
As they come to the finish line, vamos, Los Gallos. They will claim the victory and take the win in Halifax.
Oh, what a race. Oh, I've got to say, the last 2 races today were absolutely incredible. Both of them involving this Spanish team.
They've been in third twice, they've been in second twice, but their first win comes in Canada as they get it done in Event 7. And how about this? Explorer Swiss said, you know what? We want to be on the podium. Explorer Swiss will hold on for third place as they get around the Bonds Flying Roos. Great work by Sebastian Snyder. And Tom Slingsby's run of victories, 3 in a row, comes to an end as the Bonds Flying Roos will finish in 4th.
Yeah, but he still extended his lead in that race to Abu Dhabi. And I think for Artemis, second, they'll be gutted. They just probably got their nose ahead in theory, but they were tactically a little bit out of position in that race. But in their race to Abu Dhabi, massive weekend for Artemis.
Stevie, I'll tell you what, you go back to the final fleet race, or the third race of the day, on Sunday, third race fleet race. I get them confused with split fleet. And it was that start. Once they nailed that start, that tricky start, no penalty, they thread the needle. It seemed like the momentum was all theirs and they could do no wrong.
Absolutely. I mean, he was brilliant. Well, all 4 boats were very good, but I think a couple of kilometres an hour more speed to the Spanish, and you just give yourself the opportunity to make the first decision. And that's often easier said than done, but again, this is what highlights you are dealing with the best people.
Yeah.
When they've got the opportunity to make the correct decision, they make it.
Let's take a look back at the start of this final race, and it was Los Gallos who spotted a gap underneath Artemis. They were dialing down, trying to build speed, and all 4 boats here really ramping up their time distance calculations to make sure they were neck and neck at start time. So from here, it was a pure jag race, with Explorer Swiss having a nice angle there, but Los Gallos just sneaking ahead at Mark 1.
Yeah, they were just ahead, weren't they? And they played things out very well. I think at the bottom here, this was where Artemis have shown the fleet a few tricks there, because this early manoeuvre by Artemis, where they used their over speed to pull off a foiling roundup and then tack straight out of the mark, was really clinical. And then, well, it just came into a real arm wrestle around the course here. Any little mistake, Bonds Flying Roos made one here, getting wide on the course, you were really, really punished.
Yeah, that's right. And I think a couple of the teams showed that with a bit more space, they can be really powerful here. I think Artemis will be really happy with the way they perform. They're sailing the boat so nicely, making sure that they're up to speed as much of the time as possible. But it all came down to this split at the top gate. We've seen Los Gallos do it again and again. They're happy to take that chance when it matters. And it led to them taking the Emirates winning moment and the win here in Canada.
What a finish for Los Gallos, Spain, as they get the win at the Canada Sail Grand Prix. Halifax, part of the Rolex SailGP Championship. What a job as they now make their way into shore. The celebration continues on the Atlantic, Stevie, as they get into the trophy area, and the fans, they're sticking around for this big party. It wasn't the team they wanted, North Star Canada, but this should be quite a show.
I think it's been a fantastic day's racing, hasn't it? And I think a lot of people quite have a bit of a sort of secret soft spot for the Spanish, don't they? They're very, Diego and the team, they give off a brilliant attitude. They've had a real roller coaster season, haven't they? They've had 2 events where they've not even been able to race. Every other event they've made the final, and then finally they've won one, and that'll mean an awful lot to them.
Joel Rodriguez coming ashore, Florian Trettel, Barrio, Nicole Vanderveld, and the whole crew. Everyone's going to make their way up to the stand, and they're all get a chance to pop the bubbly.
Yeah, that's Juan Cardona there, G2, grinding position on there, but he's a real strategist on the boat with Nicole. He takes on a sort of tactical side of things, plays that chess game around the course, and ultimately it came down some very, very tight decisions. So yeah, it's a full team effort. That goes without saying. And they're a well-oiled team that's been together for several seasons now. But as much as they'll say, oh yeah, we just want to be making finals, this will mean an awful lot to them to get a win here in season 6.
As we mentioned, they are the champions of season 4. Emirates GBR, the champions of season 5, had boat issues before the start of the day. They were taken out of it, but this is a huge situation. Remember, after this event, we make the turn for European waters, 4 events, one of them also taking place in Spain. So we'll see if the Spanish can get on a roll here as they make their way towards the championship coming up in November. Hannah, your final thoughts on that race and the way Spain played Super Sunday?
Well, I think you only have to be leading right at the finish, don't you? And they made that call at the top mark just in time to overtake Artemis. So amazing sailing from them.
So the fans stick around, and the celebration is just getting underway here in Halifax as Spain reigns supreme. A nice tip of the cap to the fans from North Star Canada.
Well, it sounded incredible. I mean, it'd be amazing to sort of soak up that atmosphere, and the Spanish will be getting the full hit of it now. But yeah, North Star had a brilliant day. Yeah. Not the overall result they would have wanted. Yesterday was challenging. Small mistakes really punished them a lot. But yeah, when it all comes out in the wash, it's been an incredible weekend for the fans there in Halifax.
Started off slow on Saturday, finishing with a 6th, then a 5th. But on Super Sunday, the Canadians came to play. 2 second-place finishes. If they could have duplicated that on Saturday, it would be a different story. Yeah. They may be celebrating the big win, but in the end, it is Los Gallos Spain that gets the job done. Just silky smooth, and we talk about fewer maneuvers and making no mistakes, and we saw the best of the best. I mean, Peter Berlin, you saw Tom Slingsby, you saw Phil Robertson. They just don't make mistakes.
No, and the quality of the fleet is just getting higher and higher all the time, so the margin for error just getting smaller.
So the entire team now on the stand. They'll take some somewhat dry photo opportunities, Stevie, and then it gets a little more moisture.
Yeah, the coaching team at either ends of the team line up there do not look correctly dressed for what's about to happen. That's all I'd say. Simone Silva there, the coach in the left-hand side. He's pretty instrumental in the mapping of the course and how they all work together, performance analysis. It's a real team effort.
And now the presentation of the trophy. This is the calm before the storm.
I'm not seeing any bottles on the screen though right now, Todd, so I don't know if I've missed a trick on that, but there's some celebration there in front of the ice hockey sticks. Well, you might be able to tell me a little bit more about that, but no, here we go.
Here we go, yeah.
Somewhere.
Good time to clear out of there if you're a dignitary.
That seems to be a skill the teams don't very quickly lose.
Well, all things considered, when the forecast, Hannah, looked like it would not be that much breeze today, it was going to be light and tricky, Mother Nature showed up. Must be a fan of SailGP because Canada Sail Grand Prix Halifax has been a huge success.
Oh yeah, I mean, the racing today was some of SailGP's best, I think. We had such close finishes across the board, and our first ever 4-boat final.
So congratulations one more time. Diego Botín and his crew get the job done. A fantastic showing. They get themselves into the first ever, as Hannah pointed out, 4-boat final in league history. And now they turn their attention on to the next event, which again is coming up in just about 3.5 weeks' time. We will be in Portsmouth for the Emirates Great Britain Sail Grand Prix on July 25th and 26th. Get your tickets now. Yeah. Not in Halifax, everyone's a Spanish fan. And what a difference a day makes. Yesterday we had very cold temperatures, gusty winds, then they would die off in the rain. Stevie, today you better have your sunscreen on.
Yeah, I mean, you need the full skill set. I mean, the magic of the sport of sailing is you never really know what you're going to get next. And you've got to be able to adapt. You've got to be able to be a 100-meter runner one day, a 10,000-meter the next. And Spain put it all together today.
All right, so there are the final results here in Halifax. Los Gallos gets the win and the 10 points. Artemis finishes in second, Explorer Swiss in third, and the Bonds Flying Ruse in fourth. What a showing by the Spanish. Great work by all, and great work by our entire crew. We hope you enjoyed the coverage. For Stevie Morrison, Hannah Diamond, Lisa Darman, and I'm Todd Harris. Thanks for watching the Canada Sail Grand Prix in Halifax. We'll see you in Portsmouth.
Are you ready, Portsmouth?
The most exciting racing on water is back in Portsmouth. On July 25th and 26th, SailGP kicks off its European season, and we'll see Emirates GBR battle the world's best for hometown glory. Feel the adrenaline with spectacular views and epic entertainment.
Oh, we got a collision!
This is the racing event of the summer.